So let me get this straight. Carlos King thought it was a genius idea to drag Stormi back onto the Love and Marriage Huntsville reunion stage like some kind of surprise party favor nobody actually asked for. Really? Did he think fans were going to be like, oh wow, Stormi's back, ratings saved? Or did he think we wouldn't notice the recycled drama wrapped in cheap glitter? Because, let's be honest, the only thing shocking about this surprise guest reveal is that Carlos is still pretending he's producing a reality show instead of a daytime soap opera with Wi-Fi. But here's where it gets juicy. The internet is already on fire. Fans are side-eyeing this reunion harder than Martell's side-eyed Fidelity. And the whispers about what really went down behind the scenes, oh, they're louder than a mic left on during commercial break. Why did Carlos pull this move now? Was it desperation? Was it strategy? Or was it his last-ditch attempt to turn Mel into the villain of her own story, while hiding the fact that production has been fumbling worse than Martell in a group chat? And wait until you hear Mel's response, because trust me, it's the kind of subtle clapback that leaves you wondering, who's really running this show? Carlos or the woman he keeps trying to dim? Buckle up, because this reunion drama isn't just messy, it's radioactive. The cameras are on. The reunion lights are burning. And Carlos King walks onto the stage acting like he just pulled off the biggest reality TV twist of the decade, when in truth what he delivered was a plot line thinner than Martell's excuses. The so-called big surprise was none other than Stormi Steele. The guest nobody asked for, but the one Carlos is determined to shove down everyone's throat as if she is the missing ingredient to save a season. That has been dragging its feet from episode 1. It is almost laughable, because when you really think about it, Stormi has never been the game changer, never been the shock factor, never been the one with the storyline that carries the weight of the show. Yet here we are with Carlos selling her return as if it is the second coming of reality television glory. Fans at home are not fooled. They are not gasping in shock. They are rolling their eyes and muttering under their breath that this is the same old recycled drama being served on a paper plate. And the question that everybody keeps asking is, why now? Why Stormi, and why at this reunion? When her contribution to the season could barely fill a commercial break, to understand the mess Carlos is creating, you have to rewind the tape and look at how Stormi came into the picture in the first place. When she first joined the cast, she walked in with the confidence of someone who was about to drop nuclear-level secrets and shake Huntsville to its core, but when the smoke cleared, all she delivered was small talk, side commentary, and a few half-hearted jabs at Melody that landed like feathers instead of punches. Her Valentine's Day event was hyped up as her moment to shine, but no one even remembers what actually happened that night, except that there were flowers, cameras, and a whole lot of nothing. The girls' trip was another supposed grand stage, where Stormi could prove her relevance, but the only thing that became memorable was her storming out in frustration, because Melody refused to play into her poking and provoking. It was less of a storyline and more of a tantrum. And yet production keeps trying to breathe life into it, like a CPR attempt on a flatline subplot. So here we are at the reunion, and suddenly Stormi is front and center again. According to whispers floating around the industry, Carlos did not even plan to have her there at first. She was added last minute after it became painfully obvious that the season did not have enough juice. To make the reunion worth tuning into, sources claim Stormi was told in no uncertain terms that she needed to come in hot. Bring the fire, stir the pot, and give the viewers something to tweet about. Allegedly, she was even promised extra perks if she agreed to target Melody directly, because the producers know the only guaranteed drama comes when someone tries to rattle Mel. The irony is that Melody has been carrying this show on her back since the first episode aired. Yet production insists on framing her as the problem, painting her as cold, distant, or difficult, while allowing others to play the sympathetic underdog. Stormi's return is not about giving her a platform. It is about using her as a pawn to chip away at Mel's image and keep the audience locked into a cycle of drama that goes nowhere. The truth is, the audience is not stupid. Fans know what real tension looks like, and they know what manufactured drama smells like. And right now, the scent is overwhelming. Viewers remember how Stormi shifted from being Melody's friend to her frenemy overnight, with no real explanation other than the fact that it made for good television. They remember how the editing turned minor disagreements into epic clashes, and how the cast seemed to suddenly gang up on Mel whenever the storyline started to get slow. Now Stormi is being dragged back into the spotlight. Not because her presence adds value, but because Carlos is desperate to keep the ratings from slipping through his fingers. It is almost comical to watch the same tricks being recycled season after season with Carlos. Pretending each time that this is groundbreaking content, fans wanted resolution, growth, something authentic. But instead, they are getting reruns of old fights dressed up as brand new scandals. What makes it even more infuriating is the clear imbalance in how the cast is treated. Melody has been targeted repeatedly, her personal struggles dragged through the mud, her character attacked from every angle, while Martel's mistakes are brushed aside or defended by the very same people who should be holding him accountable. Stormi's role in this imbalance is obvious because she serves as the convenient distraction, the one brought in to stir tension so the focus shifts away from the real issues. Bringing her back at the reunion feels less like a surprise and more like a setup. A calculated move to corner Melody once again under the bright lights, while Carlos sits back with a satisfied grin. The fans see it. The outrage from the fans only grew louder once Stormi appeared on that stage because it was no longer about whether she had anything to say. It became about what she was being used for and the way. Carlos positioned her as though she was holding a golden ticket that could rescue a sinking ship. Social media lit up immediately, with side-by-side comparisons of Stormi's minimal involvement during the season and the sudden inflated importance she was given in the reunion. People were quick to point out that this was not organic storytelling. This was manipulation, and the fingerprints of production were all over it. Whispers began circulating of supposed leaked call sheets were Stormi's name had been scribbled in at the very last minute, and rumors of private phone calls between producers and cast members encouraging them to lean into the drama with Mel began to surface. One anonymous source who claimed to have worked with the production team even suggested that Stormi was not just invited but instructed on exactly what to say and when to say it, as if her appearance was less about reunion authenticity and more about reading from a pre-written script. Asterisk, it would not be the first time reality television was accused of staging drama, but this particular situation hits different because of the way fans have already been questioning Carlos's integrity all season. From the selective editing that paints Mel as cold while showing everyone else in the best possible light to the repeated decisions to highlight meaningless side plots while glossing over real issues. Viewers feel they are being played, and not in a clever way. They see through the smoke and mirrors, and the backlash is already spiraling out of control. Tweets, Instagram threads, and YouTube breakdowns are dissecting every second of Stormi's sudden spotlight, and fans are connecting the dots that the show itself is trying to hide. There are accusations of favoritism, accusations of calculated smear campaigns, and even some fans speculating that Stormi's business ventures were struggling, and that her return was a quid pro quo arrangement, where she agreed to play along in exchange for promotion and exposure. The theories might sound wild, but in the world of reality TV, nothing is too outrageous to be true, especially when ratings and money are involved. Asterisk. The most damning part of this scandal is the way it highlights Carlos's ongoing mishandling of the cast, particularly the women who actually built the foundation of the show. Melody has carried the weight of the brand since its inception. Her storylines, her resilience, and even her personal pain turned into content. Yet rather than being uplifted, she has been targeted again and again. Fans cannot ignore the way her supporters, known as the Mels, are mocked, disrespected, and gaslit not only by certain cast members, but also by the production itself. Stormi walking into the reunion with a smug sense of purpose was not just about her presence. It was about Carlos signaling that Melody's concerns will continue to be dismissed and that the strategy of using her as the punching bag for ratings is still alive. The hypocrisy becomes glaring when you consider how Martel has been shielded. His infidelity and recklessness treated as forgivable, while Melody is painted as difficult simply for standing her ground. And while fans are busy roasting Carlos online, the supposed insider leaks keep painting a darker picture. There are whispers of budget issues behind the scenes, of Carlos being under pressure from network executives to deliver numbers no matter the cost, and of cast members being offered under-the-table incentives to stir fights that would trend on social media. Some reports even suggest that outside sponsors are influencing the direction of the storylines, pushing for certain conflicts to be highlighted while others are swept under the rug. The reunion was supposed to be the climax of the season, a moment of truth. But instead, it has been exposed as a patchwork of fake confrontations designed in a boardroom rather than born out of genuine emotion. Fans are not impressed. They are insulted because they invested their time, expecting to see reality, and instead they are handed staged theater. This unraveling scandal has also reignited conversations about the treatment of Black women in reality television as a whole. Critics are pointing out that Melody and others like her are constantly portrayed as combative or cold when they refuse to play along with manipulative editing, while men like Martel or women like Stormi who bend to the production narrative are excused and even rewarded. The imbalance is obvious, and the reunion only amplified it, showing how Carlos is willing to sacrifice dignity for drama. Viewers are questioning how long this formula can even last because the audience has evolved. They crave authenticity. They want real growth and conflict resolution, not the same tired arguments being rehashed season after season. Stormi's presence at the reunion has ironically proven exactly what the fans have been saying all along: that Carlos is more invested in creating spectacles than protecting his cast or honoring the reality part of reality TV. The cracks in the facade grew wider as the reunion dragged on because the very tactic Carlos thought would ignite excitement ended up highlighting everything fans already distrusted about his production choices. Stormi's return was not met with applause, but with suspicion. Every word she spoke was dissected for signs of coaching. Every sideways glance seemed staged, and the tension between her and Melody felt more like a rehearsed skit than an authentic clash of personalities. By now, the audience had stopped asking whether Stormi had a storyline and had started asking whether the show itself still had integrity left to stand on. The fallout was no longer contained to fan circles online. Mainstream blogs picked up the chatter. Industry insiders started whispering about Carlos losing his touch, and sponsors allegedly began to evaluate whether associating with such a toxic and transparent production was worth the investment. The scandal had ballooned into something larger than just a reunion gimmick. It had become a referendum on the direction of the entire franchise. The more Carlos tried to double down on the manufactured conflict, the more obvious it became that the magic was gone, and that viewers were not going to settle for being treated like they could not tell the difference between real tension and scripted chaos. At the core of it all was Melody, who once again found herself painted as the villain for no crime other than refusing to play into the narrative designed against her. Her silence when Stormi provoked her was not weakness, it was strength, and fans could see that clearly. Instead of giving the fiery showdown production wanted, she chose dignity. And in doing so, she exposed the hollowness of the setup. Every attempt to corner her ended up shining a brighter light on how far Carlos was willing to go to undermine her. And rather than breaking her image, it strengthened it. Viewers who may have once questioned her were now rallying behind her, demanding accountability, not from her, but from the people orchestrating the spectacle around her. The irony was striking because the very person Carlos tried to diminish turned out to be the only authentic anchor the show still had, while everyone else looked like props in a tired circus act. The more Stormi spoke, the less weight her words carried. The more Carlos pushed, the more transparent his motives appeared. And the more Melody held her composure, the clearer it became that the reunion was not breaking her. It was breaking the show. By the time the camera stopped rolling, the damage was already done. What was meant to be the explosive finale that reignited interest in the franchise had turned into a cautionary tale about what happens when producers underestimate the intelligence of their audience. Fans did not walk away talking about Stormi's revelations. They walked away talking about how far Carlos had fallen and how long they were willing to tolerate a cycle of fake drama. The controversy was no longer about one reunion, it was about the future of love and marriage Huntsville itself. A future that now looked uncertain and unstable. If there was any lesson to be taken from the spectacle, it was that the people watching at home are not just consumers of drama. They are critics of authenticity, and they can see when the storylines are manipulated beyond repair. The scandal of Stormi's return may have been intended as a short-term spark, but instead it lit a fire under the conversation about how reality TV must evolve or collapse under its own weight. And as far as this reunion is concerned, the collapse feels closer than ever. So after everything we just broke down, the question that really matters is how long are fans going to keep allowing this circus to pass itself off as reality television when the tricks are so obvious and the motives so transparent? Carlos King may believe that any drama is good drama, but audiences are proving otherwise because people are tired of watching the same recycled conflicts and tired of watching Melody be targeted while others are protected. The truth is that this reunion was supposed to be the big payoff, yet it only exposed the cracks in the foundation and the desperation behind the scenes. Now it is your turn to weigh in because your voice actually matters more than Carlos wants to admit. Do you think Stormi's sudden return was a desperate ploy, or do you believe she truly has something meaningful to contribute? Are you tired of seeing Melody being gaslit and disrespected while the real culprits walk away untouched? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Share this video with every fan who knows the truth. And do not forget to hit like and subscribe because we are going to keep pulling back the curtain and exposing the stories they never want you to hear.